All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to A Conversation with Friends. Let me just get everybody to hit refresh. And if I could remember how to spell refresh in the chat room so you could all hear, because sound doesn't start automatically if you're already previously in the chat room. First off, thank you very much, LJ, for agreeing to come back on. I didn't torture you too badly the first time.
Oh, no, thank you so much for having me.
Hopefully somebody will let us know that our sound is good. But until then, we're still recording, and I can get it in the archives. Yay. Okay, first, a few things about LJ. It's not just LJ the Medium anymore. It's Reverend LJ the Medium. You just became, like that. Yo, Rev, what's up?
I know.
Okay. You just got, oh goodness, where's my emotion? Like just in the past couple of weeks, you got ordained as
actually last Saturday.
Last Saturday, okay. As an Interfaith minister. Now, explain to me, first off, introduce yourself before I start all these questions. Introduce yourself a few words to everybody listening.
Okay, well, hi, everybody, and thank you for listening, and thank you again, Darlene, for having me. I know it's been quite a few months, but yeah, so I go by LJ. Everyone calls me LJ. My husband started that like 11 years ago, so it just stuck. And I am a medium. I'm a Reiki practitioner, and yes, about a week ago, I became an ordained minister. I did a 2-year program. So what that means is basically I could officiate weddings, do memorial services or funeral services, baby naming, baby blessing. But Interfaith just basically it's that we're all one. There's not just one religion or anything like that.
Sure. Okay. But I get from Jackie that the sound is good.
Hi, Jackie.
Okay. What is the difference? Because when I was writing my notes beforehand, I started writing a non-denominational minister. Is there a difference between interfaith, or is that just a different way of saying it?
It's just a different way of saying it.
Okay, so it's pretty much the same thing. Okay, so you can pretty much do anybody who, example, in the Catholic religion, if you're divorced or you can't get remarried in the church. So if somebody wants to have their marriage ceremony performed by you, they can call you. You don't hold any grudges because they're divorced.
Exactly right. There's no judgment whatsoever. So a lot of people sometimes they get married in the catering halls, or they marry somebody of a different religion. So backyard, there's all different ways. But yeah, it's pretty much I'm really excited to do that. So I actually just met a couple of people, or I've been introduced to different people. So just recently I just met I ended up talking to somebody who was like a manager of the funeral home. I just met a wedding planner. So it's amazing like how they start coming into your path so I can get started on this journey. So I'm really excited about it.
Well, that's good. The universe puts a whole, no matter what we think is going to happen, once we study for something, and it's something that we're really interested in, like for you, being a minister, you did a 2-year course. It's not like I'm nothing against people who, sent in their money and got a free, got a diploma online, but you took the 2-year course. You did the whole thing. You weren't just, it wasn't just a thing. And so that was something that you really wanted. And now that you've completed your course, you now, like you said, the universe is putting people into your path, a funeral director, a wedding planner. So, and churches are going to be of different, and people are going to be connecting with you for baby blessings and baby naming ceremonies.
Yeah, I'm really excited.
I'm
really excited, and it is interesting because actually when I started, and I apologize, I'm a little sick. I'm just getting over it, so I'm really happy I have a voice to do the show tonight. So just in case I start coughing or anything, but Yeah, when I first started, I didn't even know where I would go. Like, I didn't know if I'd be doing the weddings or the funerals or anything like that. So I tell everybody, when I actually started the program, it was more for me to get a sense of healing or to understand life better, to be around people, you know, who could understand, you know, what I was going through. So a lot of it had started off on my own journey to try and find healing. And then it's just been, you know, one thing after the other being led down this path. So, for instance, just being a medium, you know, when I first started, not that I wasn't a medium, I just hadn't been out as a medium yet or a professional medium.
Yeah.
So public speaking wasn't something that I was comfortable with when I started the program 2 years ago. And here I am doing public speaking. I am doing all this. So it's actually interesting where I started 2 years ago and not knowing, you know, where I would end up or where I would be or where it would take me. So it's actually pretty exciting for everything to just kind of fall in place and everything come together.
Well, let people know a little bit about how you sort of, as I put it, came out of the spiritual closet. Your journey started with, you had a back injury, a spinal injury. So what exactly was the injury? Were you in a car accident or something?
No, it was not a car accident. I had just an accident at work, actually. So I had just come back from my honeymoon, and I basically got hurt at work. I'm not going to go into too much detail there, not to relive anything. But I ended up having emergency spine surgery, and one thing led to the other. I had 3 spine surgeries. I had a surgery on my spine 2013, 2014, and 2016. And actually, for 2 of those years, I was actually in a wheelchair and bedridden as well. So basically, that's when it all started. Had I been a medium when I was younger, yeah, I felt spirit or noticed spirit. I probably couldn't pinpoint exactly what it was or what was happening to me or actually believed it. But once I had my, my traumatic experience in 2013, that's when things started to awaken for me, so to speak. You know, I had dreams, or the dreams started happening again, or you can call them premonitions. So I wasn't really sure. But then I remember someone had came to, you know, visit me, and they had brought up Reiki, and I didn't know what Reiki was. And she had someone else had told me about a tarot class. So it was like all these little spiritual things that were happening. So I said, you know, when I'm better, maybe, you know, I can go. So it started off with just taking like a spiritual development class. It wasn't even a mediumship class. And I had heard about it for about a year before I actually decided to go. And I went, and you know, a lot of people had a lot of things in common, and I was able to get out the house. And right when I started, they had brought up that there was a psychic mediumship class, like starting a week later. So I basically had started, you know, more out of curiosity and wanting to see, you know, what it was about, not really sure that that's where I would end up. And it's just kind of one thing, you know, I met the teacher, and then from there I took the Reiki, and it's just been kind of been led down that path.
Yeah. Just a quick note, everybody in the chat room, all the guests in the chat room, if you sign in with the IntuiTalks, you'll be able to actually talk in the chat room. So if you have any questions, you can put them into the chat room. Because I know sometimes listening is great, but, you know, if you want to join in on, as I call it, join into the craziness of the chat room, please feel free to. One thing I posted in the chat room is your Black Friday deal. Everybody's going to see that. There is the links to your website and to your 2 Facebook pages and to LJ's Medium on Instagram. So anybody wants to follow LJ or connect with LJ, those are the places to do it. And people keep sending me messages. I'm on the air, people. Don't talk to me. Okay. Now, one of the things that in your journey with the surgeries and everything else is you donated a kidney.
Yes. So basically, so I have had 6 surgeries in the last 5 years. And how I got to donating the kidney, if you know, I have a little bit of time, so I guess I can go into that. So I did have 3 spine surgeries, and with the spine surgeries, I lost a lot of weight. My muscles atrophied, you know, being in a wheelchair, being bedridden. So the first thing that led to as well was I ended up having my intestines obstructed, and I had GI surgery. And I was really lucky that, you know, we were able to handle that. And while I was going in for the GI surgery, which was, I had a rare condition called SMA syndrome, they told me I also had a rare kidney condition. which is called nutcracker syndrome. And it's so rare that I was lucky to find a doctor who knew what it was. So when they operated on my stomach, they said, okay, we're just going to monitor, the kidney condition. And what that was is the kidney was fine. It was the vein that connects to the kidney that gets squished. So between the spine surgeries and the weight loss, my organs got compressed. I'm trying to make it as simple as possible. So my organs had gotten compressed. So I was doing better from the stomach surgery, but here I was suffering from kidney pain, fatigue, anemia. So I ended up having my first kidney surgery, which was last year, and unfortunately that failed. So they said, well, the only other option you have is to have a nephrectomy, which is when they remove your kidney. So I said, all right, well, if the kidney itself is okay, would I be able to donate it? So, which is something that hasn't been done before. I was actually the first patient at the hospital where I had my surgery in New York to donate due to this rare condition. So I underwent all the all the living donor tests, which I passed, and I was able to donate my kidney. So I was happy that I could turn my bad situation into a good one. And, since then I've been feeling great. My pain is gone. I'm healing. It was just this past April during organ donation month. And my kidney recipient, she's 26, and she was actually on dialysis for 7 years. And from what last we spoke, she's doing really well. She was working full-time and actually looking to go to grad school, which is something she wasn't able to do. And her hopes is also to travel. So she's doing really well. So I'm really glad that it worked out that way. And since going through my experience, I've been able to share it because I belong to several support groups, whether it's the Living Donor Support Group, Nutcracker Syndrome Support Group. So being able to share my information there that this is an option for us. I have about 10 more patients with the same condition that I have going through the living donor test right now.
Wow. Well,
yeah.
Things happen, as Jackie in the chat room said, it's a win-win situation. Things happen in our lives. Things happen in our lives for many reasons, and everything you went through gives you the ability to share what you've learned going through it with somebody else who is going through it. And you're just sort of like, hello, I went through this, this, and this, and look, I'm still here. I'm still fighting. I'm still kicking butt. As I was say, kicking butt and taking names.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I dealt with a lot of pain, and I know everybody has their story and pain. I could only talk from experience. So I lived with physical pain for many years. The past 5 years has been nothing, but physical pain. Thank God I'm doing better. Emotional pain, dealing with it. I mean, when you can't take care of yourself and you can't go to the bathroom, you can't do anything by yourself, you lose your independence. That completely changes you. And just emotionally, you lose people around you, and, you're not able to do what you once did, so you it's like you have to rediscover and figure out again, who you are, how do you live, with this pain. So it's been quite a journey. So I'm happy now. I've just started getting out there, and I've been asked to speak and share my story and how I've dealt with the pain and turned it into purpose. So, I just tell everybody, just to hang in there and don't give up, because I was in the darkest places of all places. We just have to, we have to keep fighting, and I know it's easier said than done, but, we got to keep going.
Yeah. Now, how does everything that you went through bring you to coming out of your spiritual closet?
Everything I went through, it's been quite an awakening. So when I mean by awakening, it's just been kind of, just a new appreciation for life and gratitude for life. For me, just finding gratitude, waking up in the morning, being able to get out of bed, tying my own shoes, getting dressed on my own. We don't look at the little things that we do every day, right? We get up, we rush, we go. So just taking a moment to just really appreciate the little things, I never really appreciated going outside and seeing the trees or the sun and all these different things. And now it's like I found gratitude in just everything. And that's just kind of opened me up, because I just wanted to, when you're given it to me, I always say I was given a second chance. So when you're given this second chance or this opportunity, you want to live it to the fullest. At least I can say that. And just spiritually, I just feel like just more connected to God or however you want to call it, the universe, and just feeling connected and just being open. And it really makes you go within, it's just going deeper, things I didn't think about before. I was just going through life before, I think, I went to work, I came home, did this, did that. But now it's really like seeing, that there's so much more. And just being able to take the classes. So when this all happened to me, I didn't consider myself a psychic or a medium or thought that this would be something professional. But I just feel with every experience that I've had, I've went deeper and deeper into this, spiritual connection and just met some incredible people and hearing their stories and just being inspired, it just kind of motivated me to want to make a difference.
Yeah. We get for everything that you've been through, there's people put into your path to help you, guide you, and work with you, whether it's a long time or a short time. People are put into our paths for different reasons, and I think one of the people, which I'm very jealous of, that you got to spend a week with was Tony Stockwell, which I think is totally awesome. Hoping that in the new year Mama D's gonna bug the heck out of his people, and hopefully he'll come on the show as well. I can always use your name.
Oh, that'd be amazing. He is brilliant. He is brilliant. I'm actually in his mentorship right now. I did the year long with him.
Okay.
So we're actually coming to the end of our mentorship, which ends in December. So being that I'm in New York and he was coming to New Jersey for the 5-day workshop, I was like, I have to meet him in person. I've been working with him for a year. So I was really excited to go spend 5 days. He's just a brilliant teacher.
Yeah, well, he is like I said, very interesting. I've seen him I've heard about him, I've seen him on different things, and it's interesting that, like I said, everybody is put into our path for a reason. And just sometimes we figure it out right away, and sometimes we don't.
Exactly.
Of the many things that you do as LJ the medium, you do group sessions, you do private readings. Which are the ones that you like to do the most? The platform, the group sessions, or the private readings?
I love platform readings, which is what I'm really getting out to do more and more of right now. And I appreciate the one-to-one because it's, it's more intimate, it's personal, the person's in front of me. But I love the platform. So I've just recently, and I'll be back in January, I did Governor's Comedy Club, or it might be a local restaurant, wherever I can go. I just love being able to reach so many people. So opposed to spending 30 minutes with somebody, an hour with somebody, I look at it as in an hour, I might be able to reach, 4, 5, 6, and so on, more people and bring through more spirit and more messages. So that's why I really enjoy that, because I feel like I can really share more. So that's what I really enjoy. So I really love the platform, and I'm looking forward to doing more of that in 2019.
That's going to be fun. We're going to watch. Yeah. We're going to watch you. And anybody who wants to follow LJ, if you don't connect with her on Facebook, it's LJ the Medium. Excuse me. On her website is www.ljthemedium, all one word, .com. Go check her out there. She has her events coming up, and you're going to love to just follow this child. And I'm going to call you a child because you were like, everybody's a child. I just feel like an old maid sometimes. Well, not old maid, but I'm the crone of the family. I'm the one who keeps poking and prodding everybody to come out of their little shells and their little bubbles. So.
You're so sweet. Yeah, my birthday was it's awesome because I got to celebrate my ordination and my birthday on the same day. So it was really cool. It was a big celebration just in general of life and just how far I've come. So I thank you for sharing my website, ljthemedium.com, and I'm really excited within my goal for this week. I'm almost finished with it. I'll be launching my ministry page, you'll be the first one to hear it now, ljtherevs.com. So that's going to be coming up this week. I'll be launching that.
Oh, that's going to be cool. So don't forget, people, ljtherevs.com. You're going to go there, and you're going to, if you want your baby naming ceremony, if you want to get married, and you want to have somebody who's not an old stick in the mud, an old stuffy, an old stuffy like me. Thanks, Jack. Go check her out there. Miss Christy, hi, Cassie. Thank you for coming in. So go check her out there. When is the new website going to be up and running? The new website.
I'm hoping by the end of this week. I wanted to get it out before Thanksgiving, but we'll see. I'm hoping right this week sometime. Not sure exactly what date, but I'll definitely send you the info as well so you can check it out.
Cool. So I will.
Making the final details and checking this and checking that. So,
I know. Putting
I'm
up
like a perfectionist. Yeah.
Putting
it's
up
a lot of work.
It's so easy. No. You know, people sit there and go, oh, it's just, no. It's not just the website. It's part of who you are. You know, it's
yeah,
part
especially when you're doing it by yourself. You know, that is showing who you are or sharing your story or whatever it is on there. So to me, it's like, okay, let me make sure I have everything on there, you know, because that's what they first see, I feel like.
Yeah, exactly. Well, like your ljsmedium.com is absolutely gorgeous, I have to say.
Thank you so much.
Janet, you did that one all by yourself. Hello, people. Hello, Eric. Welcome. Up a little late, but that's okay. Eric is our friend from the UK, and it
Hi,
is
Eric.
almost midnight there. Ooh.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So everybody is from different places. That's what I love about doing these shows, is you can reach so many people from different places, and you don't realize it. You know, the internet is an amazing thing because you get to meet friends like you and I would never have met if it wasn't for the internet and Facebook.
Exactly. It's amazing how many people now are on social media connecting. It's amazing that sometimes I do the development circles online, and like half of them are from the UK, so it's pretty awesome when you hear where people are from.
It is. Is there anything that's on your wish list, that's on, as everyone calls it, their bucket list, the thing that you want to do the most, the next step?
In my journey or in general? Like in general, I really want to travel. I love traveling. And you know, due to my illnesses and surgeries the last 5 years, it was really hard. So my goal is to travel. And as far as in my journey, I would love to just platform more, get out there more, share healing with others. And definitely my goal for 2019 is to start to work on my book. I want to write a memoir. So I would like to go forward with that. So that's a big thing on my wish list.
Well, traveling and working the platform, you can combine the two. You go over to the UK and they have the SNU churches, and they always welcome, I know quite a few churches do welcome, guest people for the platform. You can always connect with Eric, and he knows a lot of people in high and low places.
Oh, Eric, we'll have to talk. And I love these. I love England. London is one of my favorite places. I had the opportunity to go there, and I totally agree with you as far as traveling for the platform. So I was actually just invited to North Carolina.
Ooh,
to do, they're just, like you said, you meet people on social media and they hear of you, and, you know, I did a reading for them, you know, online, I guess you could say phone, or I do Skype readings as well, and we connected, and I brought through this woman's son, and now she's invited me to North Carolina, and it was on a post, and someone else was, well, I'm in North Carolina. If you go to North Carolina there, I'm only an hour away. So it looks like I'll be doing 2 groups in North Carolina, and I'm looking more in the spring, though, because my husband said he'll come, but he wants to be able to golf. So we're going to try and go, yeah. So we'll go in the springtime. He can golf, and I'll go do some groups. So that'll probably be my first big, you know, if nothing happens before then, you never know, right? But, so I'm looking forward. That would be me traveling for the platform, which is really nice. So I'm excited for that. If I could do that, oh my God, that would be amazing if I could go everywhere and travel and do 2 things that I love. I would love that.
Well, a friend of mine, she's in New Zealand, and I'm not sure, they were friends, how they became friends, but she got invited to do 2 weeks, I think it was, in Hawaii. And it was totally paid for. All she had to do was pay her plane fare, but she had a place to stay. She had readings were lined up, platform groups were lined up because they wanted her there. So again, you can get to Hawaii, and you never know where.
That's amazing. That would be wonderful. So I'm going to try and manifest that to travel and do what I love as well. And I just saw Eric's comment. He said there's how many independent churches there are there, and I like how you mentioned, Eric, the 3 golf courses. But that would be awesome. And we want to go back to England so bad. I don't know what kind of fan you are, Eric, but my husband's a big Manchester fan. Manchester United fan. So actually when we were in London several years ago, we actually drove to Manchester and we were able to go to a game. So we would definitely go back there. He absolutely loves it there. So if I tell him he can golf there, we'll probably be there next week.
He says come up north to Newcastle.
Newcastle. All right. Well, we should definitely connect. Any reason to go back to England, I would love to go.
Yeah, well, you find Eric Glynn the Medium, Eric Glynn, on Facebook. You guys will eventually connect. If not, I'll make sure you do. But
definitely, thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, but this is the thing. We need, our lives do not, as much as we get into this little box, this little bubble of our lives, like you say, you used to get up in the morning, go to work, come home, make supper, go to sleep. We had a routine, and then something changed in that routine, and it's not a nice thing to say, but you got hurt and shit happened. Not such nice shit, but shit still happened.
Right.
I'll be putting money in that swear jar tonight. But it was for a reason, because you are helping people, through all the stuff that you went through. You're helping people.
Oh, yeah.
Through your journey with spirit, you're helping people.
Thank you. Well, that's what I always say to people is just, it's easier said than done, but not waking up and taking things for granted. So, as I mentioned earlier, like I wasn't able to walk, you know what I mean? So we don't think about things. We just do. We just go.
Yep.
But when you lose the ability to walk or, you lose you're in the hospital and you go through all these things, you're like, oh my God, the things that I took for granted, the things I got mad about, the things I got sad about, the complaints that I used to have were nothing when you're in a situation when you're like pleading for life. You're not really thinking, you're just like, oh my God, if I had an opportunity, I would do it again. It's unfortunate that it takes a trauma to wake up call, but a lot of medium friends that I had have all had some type of trauma that just kind of shook us up. And that's not to say everyone needs to have a trauma to wake up, but
no.
Hopefully those of us that have had trauma and had to go through what we went through can, spread the word to others to make a difference in their life and just appreciate the little things. How many times do we get mad because we're running late somewhere and we think it's the end of the world? It's just, silly things. So it really has opened my eyes to a lot. It really has.
No, it's true. And like people always say, oh, this is a conversation I had with a friend a couple of days ago that, you're always in a good mood, darling. You're always in a good mood, Mama. No, I'm not. But I don't feel the need to share it. But anybody who thinks that my life is all, peaches and cream, as I love to say, is my unicorns do fart butterflies and rainbows. But when there's a fart, there's still that lovely odor that just sneaks its way in there. Eric's posted, just to tempt people, we have 15 churches and 12 castles, 3 golf courses within 25 miles of my house. Come and see the land of the castle.
You had
the land of the
castle.
castle.
I'm coming. I'm done. I'm there, Eric. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, yeah.
I love castles. I love anything. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, every time I have a friend who and her husband always go out places and they go to castles and she'll send me the pictures and I'll be like, oh God, I want to be there. It doesn't have to be, the castle of England, just different castles, different ways, whether they're in disrepair or repair or whatever, just to know the energies that went through it, the people that went through it, the lives that was created by everything. Why in the heck?
Yeah.
Something just clicked here. Okay.
I want to go back to England, but another place on my bucket list would be, I would love to go to Ireland as well. Ireland is on my list. And I'm actually from, I love traveling, but I'm actually from Italy. I didn't know if you knew that, but I was actually born in Italy. So that's one of my favorite places. That's my second home. I still have grandparents there, and my mom's entire family's there. Most of my family is there, actually. My dad came here when he was really young, and then my mom came after they got married. So, but I would love to go back and visit my family too.
Well, I think eventually you'll get to have everything you want, and maybe not in the order that we want it to, but I think, like I said, all this happened for a reason. And one of the things that I have an issue with is putting people, giving people titles and names, classifying people. Yes, you are LJ the medium, but and you're Reverend LJ the medium, but you're more than just that, because I consider it to be a healer. When people ask me, well, what do you do? It's like, well, because even as a medium or as a psychic or as a Reiki practitioner or as a reverend, you're still healing a part of people, whether it's the mind, the body, or the soul. There's some healing that needs to be done. So with the sharing that you do, the work that you do, you're doing that and in incredible numbers.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
No, I agree. And not only going through the trauma, but I changed in many ways. I used to be a smoker. I no longer smoke. I used to be unhealthy and ate I lost, the weight, but I'm healthy now. I exercise. So it's a lot of habits changed. So it shook me up, in many positive ways. I did have to go through the pain, but, when I look at myself now and I'm healthy and think about the habits that I was, like I said, I think I was just kind of, we just go through the motions of life. We get up, we fall into a routine, so that as well, I'm really grateful for those changes. And, because of this happened, I quit smoking. Because of this happened, I had to go exercise. And, so it's like kind of like a domino effect. But I have to say, in the end, it was all for positive changes.
It was a nice domino effect.
It's been a long domino effect, last 5 years. But, now but you have to look at what good has come out of it. We have to look at yes, there's painful situations and bad situations, but then we have to look at, what's the good in it? What has come out of it? How has this changed us in a good way? So I wouldn't have met the people that I've met. I wouldn't have ended up doing what I love or finding my true passion. So I have to look at what came out of it that was positive. Exactly.
As irritating as a lot of people find it, everything happens for a reason. The good, the bad, and the ugly. All this stuff happens for a reason. But the thing is, if you don't find the reason in it, people say, well, if you don't learn your lesson, it's going to keep happening over and over again. But the thing is, sometimes it's just a teeny tiny little lesson. Not just a big one, okay, this happened, so I needed to lose weight. Or this happened, and, this happened because you needed to heal yourself and help to heal others. That's the way I look at it,
Totally.
And it's not the nice way to have this happen, It's like you kind of look to the universe and God and kind of go, could you have made it like a little less dramatic, please? But it may not have been the wake-up call that you needed if it had been less,
Right.
And everybody has it happen to them in different ways. Eric. Oh, looky.
Oh, my God. Where is that?
Eric. You're going to have to tell us.
Excuse me. I'm so sorry.
Just down the street from Eric. Okay. Everybody, LJ is just getting over a sinus infection, and last week she had no voice, so we may not, Bamberg Castle. So if we quit early, it's because her throat can't deal with the chit-chatting with me for 2 hours, or she just pooped, because I'm very
sorry.
thankful. No!
I'm fighting it. Like, I was happy that I had the voice to do the show, but you'll see, now it's probably going to get, deeper and funny. But, yeah, it's been crazy, but it's been going around. I go to the doctor, and he's like, everyone's coming in here, with this virus, but it's the winter, it's cold, and that's how it goes, everything starts to get contagious and gross.
I'll take you around the top left corner there, Eric. That is absolutely gorgeous castle. I loved it.
That is beautiful. Wow.
So there's one of the places on your bucket list, you know. You go England, there you go. And if you can't get there, it's all Eric's fault. He tempted you.
Oh my goodness. I would travel more if it wasn't so expensive, you know. So that's the only thing sometimes. Well, the time too, you know, my husband works and everything like that, but you know, it would be nice to just have the money to go travel anytime you want for as long as you want.
Well, like I said, never know. My
never know.
Selva Dutton is her name. She was able to go to Hawaii because they did a reading for somebody, or somebody saw her, and they wanted her down there, and they set up all the things. So you never know. You know, you're going to, where is it again? In the spring, hopefully?
Oh, North Carolina, which is nice. I've always wanted to go there, so it's wonderful. That would be really nice too.
Exactly. So things will happen slowly at first, and the universe will take into consideration that you have to let your husband work and get on your nerves.
Yeah, I know. But for golf, I think he'll be ready to go.
Oh yeah. I'd be like, okay, taking my vacation now. Bye. See you later.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, he's a big golfer. Yeah.
I have no idea how people can chase a little ball around the field, but hey, I'm not a golfer, you know. But so let's get back to LJ, the medium, and not just a traveling medium, by the way. Of your readings that you've done, is there one that sort of stands out to you? Without using names or anything, but is there one that sort of stands out to you, that whether good, bad, or otherwise? Can you think of one?
I mean, I think that they're, you know, all special, you know. But I would say, like, the ones that really touch my heart, like, it's just, I mean, they all make me feel a certain way, but I would say, like, you know, when there's lots of children involved, or any type of tragedies, like, you know, you just can't forget it, but sometimes it's like, this really happened, you know, they're not here, and you're bringing through the story, and you're trying to share, you know, their life with their loved ones. But I don't know if I would say just maybe, you know, one would just stick out. I mean, they've all touched me in some way. I can't really just pick one.
No,
I could put, you know, funny stories, you know, when the ex-husband comes through and they go, I don't want to hear from them. I mean, you know, there's ones like, you know, those are the ones that make me laugh. But, you know.
Yeah, some people don't get it, that you sit there and you go, I want to hear, you know, before people come to show, I want to hear from my mother, I want to hear from my mother, and I want to hear, you know, and then you get to the thing, and it's the mother-in-law that comes through. It's like, I didn't like
Right. Also, I always say I don't have control over, you know, who comes through. But yeah, that's true. But I mean, they all touch me, but I'm really touched when I see babies or children in that matter.
Okay. Now, when you connect with spirit, do you connect it, like, not visually, but do you see them? Do you hear them? How does your connection work?
So yes, I see them, so I can describe, you know, what they look like. So I do get the clairvoyance there. I am clairaudient as well, but to me, when I hear clairaudiently, it's more like a word. You know, it's like I have to it's like charades. And I'm like, okay, well, what does this word mean? And then I have to try and, you know, I feel into it to see what that means. And I also I just had recently done a reading, and, you know, my head was just killing me, and it's almost like my speech was slurred. So I knew that was their way of coming through to bring that up. So I'm also able to feel as well. And sometimes I just know things and I can't really explain it. And that's also a knowing. So they do come in different ways. Yeah. But it's, you know, I tell everybody I do group readings. I'm like, it's like a bad Wi-Fi connection, you know. You really it's not, unfortunately, like you pick up the phone like we're doing right now and just have this really nice long conversation. It's it's a lot of work and interpretation too. And I do work a lot in symbols, you know, so sometimes I can see something. It might not necessarily be what they're showing me, but it could be representative of something else.
Okay. Like symbols.
Yeah.
Can you give me an example?
Yeah, so I'll see like the path to like in the Wizard of Oz, I just see like the golden, the yellow brick road. It's
Okay.
not necessarily that they're talking about the Wizard of Oz or yellow brick road. It could just mean this person's made a change or this person's, on a new path, but it's the right path. For instance,
Okay.
I don't know how that happened, but I'm like the yellow brick road. So I'll see like blue balloons if it's like a boy. I'll see like a graduation diploma if I know that someone just graduated. So sometimes it's a knowing or you see it, but other times it's more like symbolic in that sense. Champagne glasses represent something else. So a lot of it, I do get a lot of symbols. I do work like that a lot.
Well, we have a question in the chat room, Eric Glenn. Do you believe that through the trials and the darkness of illness, it's positivity and light of spirit that is heightened? We open more and that connects us to spirit in deeper ways.
So do you believe it through the...
That through all the darkness that you went through, that
Yeah.
your connection to spirit has been heightened.
Absolutely. And I honestly feel with every surgery, with every illness that I've had, it's become more heightened. So I would have surgery and I'd go, oh no, I would just be getting to a certain place in my mediumship and I'd worry like it'd go away or whatnot. But it was actually, I'd take the break to heal and recover. But when I got back to it, in between each surgery, it was actually more heightened. Couldn't explain it, but I just, that's what happened to me. I was deeper or went I don't know. But I do have to say yes, I do have to believe positivity and the light of spirit. I think we also have to want it. I think we have to want to heal. I think we also have to change the way we think and really believe in ourselves. Because, we could go through darkness and say, you know what, I give up. Or you could say, nope, I am going to get better. I am going to walk again one day, and that took a long time for me to change my way of thinking and my thoughts. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's so I hope that answered your question, Eric. Thank you for the question in the chat room. Anybody else who has a question in the chat room, just pop it in there, and if we can answer it, we will. One of the things that I've noticed a lot of people, a lot of people, it's like you have to stay, like people will say, well, I'm not sure if I'm doing this right. They have concerns about, I'll use me for example, so it makes it simpler. I'm not sure if this is what I'm supposed to do, if this is the path I'm supposed to do. But then I'll have people go, you know what, if you doubt it, then you're going to push it away. Now, and I have a problem with that. So, I'm not even sure where my question was going with that one. Just lost the brain part. Okay, Eric has a guide. His name is Teddy. And Teddy would like permission to come visit you at your house, if that would be okay. He asks permission. He just comes through
for his guide to come visit.
To your house, yes. He's been to my house,
right.
but there's nothing. Yeah.
You mean right now, or like?
Yeah, you just say yes or no, and he'll come through, and usually he gives you something, information that you actually know he's there. Teddy does what Teddy wants. Teddy pipes in when he wants to. Yeah, right.
Okay, I'm not familiar. Okay, we could try. Sure.
Okay, Teddy, you got permission.
Remember, I'm also ill right now, not feeling well, but we'll see. Go ahead.
But he goes to visit your house. He'll come through he'll do what he does, and then Eric will type things into the chat room.
Okay, Eric, sure. I'm intrigued.
Okay, he's there.
Okay.
Okay, so how do you deal with people, while Teddy and Eric have their little run around your house, people who say, you know what, I'm not sure if this is where I'm supposed to be. Oops, Teddy says something about tissues.
What about them?
I'm guessing why you're having them all around the house or whatever. You've got a lot. Well, you do have a lovely
I
cold
do have
going
a
on.
cold,
So.
yeah.
So if somebody comes to you and says, I'm studying I'm taking a course to be a medium to improve my skills and to work on it, but I have my doubts. How do you help people with that?
If you want to be a medium and you have your doubts?
Yeah. Like if somebody says, I've had a dozen people say I'm going to be a medium, but I have my doubts. The person themselves has doubts, even though 5, 6 people have told them that no, you're going to be a great
Sure.
medium one day. How would you?
Oh yeah, no, I've been there. I've been there too. It's interesting because I remember what a medium had told me years ago. Meanwhile, here I was in a wheelchair. I wasn't able to go anywhere. I was in pain, and I called on to do a psychic mediumship reading, and she told me that, and I'm like, is this woman crazy? Like, what do you mean I'm going to be doing readings from my house? But she was 100% right. So I mean, I've had my doubts many times, and I just feel like if it's something that you want and you are open to, I say definitely take classes, read, practice. If it's something that you don't want, but I definitely encourage people, if you have this gift, spread the healing, spread the light, definitely, learn more about it. I started off with curiosity. I'm sure there were many times when I was like, what am I doing? The first 4 weeks of the psychic class I took, it was different. It was psychic, feeling into somebody. And then I remember the next 4 weeks was a mediumship class, and I was like, yeah, should I just walk out? I looked at the teacher. I'm like, I'm not going to be able to connect. What are you talking about? So she goes, okay, you're going to sit with me and you're going to work with me. So I said, okay. So I ended up working with her, and I did bring somebody through. I had no idea. To me, it was like making it up, so I had many doubts. But for me, it was just a matter of continuing to learn, to take classes, and, practice. So I would say definitely stick with it. It is hard, and it can be discouraging, and it can be frustrating. But I definitely say if you were given this gift, just embrace it. That's what I would say.
Yeah. And it is, we all have to remember that we are human, so we will have our doubts. Nobody's perfect.
Yeah.
Nobody gets everything 100%
Right.
right, but, doubts are a part of our makeup. And if for no other reason, it makes us work harder. It makes us to focus more on, instead of focusing on 5 different things, sometimes doubts will bring you down to say, okay, look, I'm going to focus on 2 things. I'm going to focus on 3
Right.
things, not work on the 5 and go from there. So, because we have many things that we can do, but it doesn't have to all be done at the same time.
Right. It's so true. It's so true. Just take it as it comes and little by little, and especially in mediumship, it's development, it's growth. It's learning. What do these symbols mean? What am I getting? So a lot of it is really learning and growing. I'm just seeing what Eric just wrote now.
Eric says, bless. He's talking about your healing guides. He's talking about your inner strength, pen and paper on the desk, but electricity box, his word for a tablet or a pad. Soft toy on the bed and leg warmers. Sorry, Teddy's kind of all over the place. He puts, when Teddy gives his little thing, so.
So he's talking about your inner strength. Yes, okay. Pen and paper on a desk, always. Or a tablet, yes. I also have my tablet or my iPad on the desk. And soft toy in the bed, that's probably my dog's toy. And my leg warmers, I'm very cold. I always have leg warmers on.
So there you go. That's just one of the confirmations that Teddy's there doing his thing.
Well, I felt, as soon as he said that, I felt energy. So I don't know if it's my head because I'm congested and I feel like I'm in a cloud. But I definitely felt a change in energy. So.
Yeah. Well, Teddy is.
But he's got to go home tonight, Eric. He's got to go home tonight, though.
He will. He will. He doesn't stay all night. It's time to leave. He does leave. Very good at that.
Yeah.
Okay, where are we? He's standing looking over your shoulder.
Oh. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Teddy, don't look over people's shoulder. It's not. Yeah. Oh, good. Sidetracked with Teddy.
That's okay.
Now I'm completely lost. Where did my mind go?
Don't worry. Yeah, we were just talking about the mediumship development and growth and, what we would say to somebody going through it.
So when you have, we have a new friend in the chat room, Nadia. Hello and welcome. He's fascinated about what's written on the paper. Teddy says there's something written on the paper. I'm guessing in front of you or close to you, because if you're standing over your shoulder, hover.
Okay, I have a notepad on my lap, but I'd have to look back. I'm on a blank page. I'd have to look and see what was written. I'm not sure.
So if somebody comes to you and says, I want to start, because even people who are natural born mediums.
Right.
Okay. Hi, it's Nadia. What mediumship psychic classes do you recommend, and how do I find a program? That was going to be my question. Thank you, Nadia.
Okay. So that question, yes. So absolutely. I think it's really important. I think teachers are wonderful, but I also think we are our own great teachers. But I highly recommend meditating daily, sitting in the power, sitting with self, sitting with spirit. Mediumship psychic classes, there's so many development circles online, which are awesome, and I do one as well. If anyone, is interested, I could definitely send you info. And it's free, it's on Zoom, and we do development circles. So basically just practicing there, and we talk about our growth, and, we all practice giving readings to each other in the circle. And also to find a program, there's a lot, yes, you can find a lot online. As far as circles go and free groups to join. But you could check and see if there's anywhere near you where there might be a spiritualist church, perhaps, or maybe there will be some spiritual classes near you. A lot of mediums sometimes, if let's say you have a medium and they have their own office, sometimes they have their own development circles, or they might offer some classes as well. And also, there's a lot of amazing mentors online, as we had mentioned earlier. Tony Stockwell is incredible. There's CDs, meditations by him, books by him. And I also, Mavis Patilla is another one. She's absolutely amazing. So they're all based out of the UK, but they do offer online mentorship. So I'm not sure where you're located, but there's online mentorship. I'm sure you could probably find something near you if you look for maybe a mediumship teacher or a medium who offers those classes. And, you're in Babylon, New York?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I'm in Levittown.
Now, there you go. Here's the connection.
Yeah, we're really close to each other. So do me a favor, just PM me. Just send me a private message. You could add me on Facebook, and I can definitely set you up with some places and some information that might be local, since you are local.
Okay, let me put your link
Awesome.
in the chat room. That'll help as well.
You're so welcome.
There you go. Everything happens.
Yeah, I know what it's like to be a newbie, but that's great. What are the chances that she lives right really close to me? So that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many in where I live. Or at least where I live in Long Island, there's a lot of mediumship circles, mediums, classes. There's so much going on here, so it's actually great. So we'll get you into something.
Okay. Quick one. Eric says, okay, you're losing your inner power, so he's coming back to me. Thank you for letting him visit. Does he have your blessing to leave healing with you?
Sure. Thank you, Eric.
Okay. Donna Ravenrooks is interested in your circle. So Donna, connect with LJ on Facebook, and I'm sure she'll have that. But you were talking that you do a healing circle. You do circles on Zoom. I've heard about Zoom before.
I do for local, so she's local, but I do one, I try and do them in person too. So right now I do whether it's a development circle and we talk about spiritual topics, just have a conversation, and then we also do Reiki. And anyone who's open and wants to give a message or receive a message, I do that as well. But on Zoom, I try and do them either weekly or every other week. Depends on the schedule, and they're about, depending on how many people come, and we'll do some sort of practice on Zoom. Yeah.
Okay. So Donna, connect with her on Facebook, and Donna Brooks is a friend of mine. And she's in the States, even if I can't remember where she lives. She's also an awesome artist as well. She does
Awesome.
stained glass. Beautiful.
Oh,
beautiful.
wow. Great.
Yeah.
I have a beautiful piece. Oh, sorry?
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say I have like one piece of stained glass, which is absolutely beautiful, and it came from Notre Dame in Paris, and I absolutely love it. I haven't found stained glass like that, but definitely will check out your stuff too if you have a page. So I love stained glass. It's one of my favorite pieces, and it's the piece that like everybody compliments when they come into my house.
Okay. She's in Indiana. Donna, put your link into the chat room, Sweetie Pie, for your stained glass. I got 3 beautiful butterflies from Donna, and because I'm all about butterflies.
Oh, I love butterflies.
And Eric says he's back. Teddy's gone now.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
You're lucky because last time Teddy was here, he complained about my neighbor's bad parking, and I was like, what do you mean my neighbor's bad parking? Normally they're very good, but this time when he came over, the very first time I ever had this, he came over. I put Eric on hold, and I went over and I checked my neighbor's parking, and there was like 2 cars all parked backwards, and I was like, really? Okay, and it's unusual. So I was like, okay, Teddy, stay out of the front room.
And laughing about all the sunglasses.
You have sunglasses?
Oh yeah, me and my husband, yeah, all over the place.
Okay. They're gonna top the glare off.
I would love more sun. I would love more sun. It is freezing.
Yeah, but unfortunately, winter sun brings the cold. If you've never noticed that, when they're cloudy days, it's not so cold. But when the skies are blue and the sun is out there in the winter, yeah, it's colder than cold as far as I can see. But
we just had snow for the first time a few days ago, actually.
There's a link in the chat room for Donna's Raven Art glass for her stained glass.
Thank you, Donna. I'll definitely check it out. I love stained glass.
Yeah, no, cold winter wall. So don't travel to the UK in the winter because it's cold. So your husband won't be able to golf. I mean, some places you can still golf in the winter because they don't have actual snow like we're going to have. But it still gets mighty cold. You want to wear those short shorts. By the way, Teddy's a very avid golfer. Not such a good thing. Hey, Larry, welcome. Okay, so that's there. So, yeah, Eric. Yeah, we can golf all year round. There's no rain.
Hi, Larry.
Larry is from Massachusetts. I'm having a fun day with names today. It's not funny. He's from Mass. So yeah. So is there anything else that you do that on your? Thank you. Close enough. Massachusetts.
There you go.
Sheriff's house. I can't do it. Night, Eric. Have a good one.
Good night, Eric. Thank you for joining.
He's just getting over surgery. He had this thyroid removed. So.
Sending you healing.
But yeah. So, is there anything else that, like, we know you want to travel. We know you enjoy doing the platform. But is there something else? I don't know why I keep going back to this one. something
I
that
want to write my book.
right. Now, there was something that your story was published on Say It Forward?
Yeah, it was a website. It was like a lot of stories get published for, empowerment, inspiration, and they published mine. So it's actually on my page.
So I saw
Did you
that.
get to read it?
No, I didn't. I saw this when I was making my notes for the show. I saw that. I was like, I gotta ask about this one. So
Yeah. Yeah, it's a long, but you know what? It makes it clear. Unfortunately, when you share your story in, one little page, it's hard to write everything. You leave out a lot of details, but it gives the idea. It makes you feel, what I went through, where it began. I was just married, my life turned upside down, everything I went through. But then there's the silver lining, so that's why they named it a rare silver lining, because I had the rare, health conditions. But I found light at the end of it. So I'm really happy that it was published, and I do hope it gives inspiration to others, or gives them hope that, when you're going through something, or health-wise or anything, just to know to keep going, that there's a light there.
well, I will find it, and I will post the link on my page so anybody wants to read it.
Thank you.
Now, here's
Thank
a question that was curious, since you just said you just married. How did your husband deal with your awakening, your everything that you've been going through?
Yeah. So, I have to say I'm blessed, and I'm just grateful how supportive he is.
Mm-hmm.
When I went through everything, it was hard because, here we are, we just got married, we just moved into a new home. I have my injury, I need surgery. So, he had to really step up to the plate. Here I am, now I lose my, I don't have my work anymore, and there's an income that's missing from the house, so he had to, work more. I needed help. I needed help being taken care of, whether it was to shower, to get, everything. So he became my caretaker, and I'm also grateful for my parents as well. So, our lives changed in that aspect. We pretty much, as you say, you have to really grow up, and we went through a lot, together, but it made us stronger. It made us closer. Tried to break us, but, we fought. And then as everything started to happen, just like anyone else, I think when you first bring it up to someone who's not in the medium, or maybe doesn't understand the spiritual aspect, he just thought, okay, she's just taking a class. That's great. I'll drive her for an hour. It gets her out the house. Here I am at one, finally, when I'm taking these classes at this point, I'm with my cane now,
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, I'll drive her. It gets her out the house in a little bit. So it was, he thought the same as I did. It was more out of curiosity. We never thought that it was anything more would come from it. We just thought it was a class, keep me busy and occupied. But as it started to get more serious, I think he has become much more open to it. I mean, like now he tells everybody, oh, my wife's a medium. Oh, he's actually really happy and proud of it. But I would say when we first started, I would say he was skeptical, or anything I would say was a coincidence. That's just a coincidence, oh, it wasn't something, at first, everyone thought it was like certain things happen, right? It's hard to say, oh, I'm psychic and whatnot. But then I think I had someone over one night, and I ended up doing a reading for them, and he was there, and he's like, wait, did that just happen? And I'm like, yeah, how could I have known that? And then I got into more classes, and I did a platform class, and I invited him and my parents to come, which also my father was very skeptical, and now he's also my biggest supporter. And they came to the first platform that I had. It was for a class. At the end of the class, you get to do like a platform for your family and friends, and we invite people, and it was like $10 a person, and then that money gets donated to a charity of our choice. So that was the first time that he and my parents came to see me work, came to see what it was. And here I am, standing in front of these people. I think we had maybe anywhere between 30 and 40 people that night. So here I am. I get up on the platform, and, for them to see it as well, it was like, okay, she takes all these classes, and she's doing practice readings, and she's doing that. But I think once you see it does change. She is connecting to someone, or she did just connect to that person's mom or son. And now they're at all my events pretty much, anything that's, bigger. they come to, and they're very supportive. And he's just opened up, and my husband's grown and changed as well. So he's kind of been going through this, awakening or better understanding of life, if you want to say it, or appreciation, for life. And he supports me, so I'm really happy about that.
Well, it's nice to have the support of your family, because unfortunately there are some people who don't have the support of their
Right.
family think they're low.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I like to say, though, to give it time, because it's a huge thing. It's like, it's not something small, and we just changed our job from this department to that department, like everything about it. So, I don't want anyone to think, overnight I was supported. I mean, it's been, my awakening began in 2013. And I'm only starting to do the platform in this past year. So you can see it's taken years, but it's nice. If you change, people around you may change, or you're brought the right people in your life that are supportive, and maybe the people that aren't. It's just a matter of believing in yourself. And if this is something you want to do and you can do, go forward with it. And I do hope everyone gets, the same support. But I also feel it's time, because we start to open and grow, and not everybody's going to be where we are. Husbands, friends, some people don't see it like that right away. I do have some siblings they just don't want to know about it. They don't want to hear about it. So not everyone's okay with it. Not everyone's supportive, but you have to be okay with it, is what I like to tell people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious as to who's listening in on the phone.
Sure.
Do you mind if I open up the line for a second?
Go ahead, sure.
Okay. Hello at 8211. Can you hear me?
Hello.
Hello. Who am I speaking with?
This is Nydia.
Nydia. Oh, hi. Okay, you're also in the chat room, which is cool. Okay, no, did you...
Did I just hang up?
No, you can keep listening. I was just curious as to who it was. Name a number that I could actually...
I listened from the beginning. I thought I had to dial in, and then the chat room came up, so I didn't know if I had to do both together.
No, you can do it. Yeah, you can keep listening. It's fine. I was just curious.
Okay, I'll hang up then and just stay in the chat room, I guess.
Well, you can still listen to here. It doesn't matter. It's fine as well.
Okay. Perfect. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay. Yes, Larry, please go ahead. Ask a question. Anybody who has a question, just type it into the chat room. We're not difficult. Okay, I am.
No, you're great to talk to. What are you talking about?
Well,
and you have the perfect radio voice. I love it. I love it.
You. Hey, wait a minute. Does that mean my face ain't? No, okay, I'm not going to go there.
How long have you been doing radio shows, if you don't mind me asking?
I think it's been 2 years, 3 years now. Somebody said the same thing you just did. You have the perfect voice for radio. And I was like joking, going, "Oh, what? I don't have the face for TV?" And I got pulled into another show. Was on this network, and I did readings, and it was kind of comfortable, it was kind of interesting, and then I was asked to be a guest on another show on another network, and they said, "Well, why don't you apply for a show here?" And I did, and I've had 3 different shows, 4 counting this one, 2 here at IntuiTalks. Yeah, 2 here at IntuiTalks. 1 on Paramania Radio, which is my very first one, which was called Fireside Chat with Mama D. And then I had, goodness gracious, I can't remember them all. 1 over on Ghost Call Radio. Now, both those stations are still around. Ghost Call is going on a hiatus to update and upgrade their producer. I mean, their show. I like picking on them.
Okay. That's awesome. That's so great.
No, I love doing this because I think it's a way that I can get other people's lights to shine. And this is what I enjoy.
I love it. I love it. And I love meeting other people that are for that, helping others and getting out there and sharing, there can't never be enough light workers, I like to say. We need more. The world needs more of that. If I could just answer Larry's question.
Yes.
He wrote, I know that everyone works differently. But do you see spirit, just hear spirit, or is it more of an intuitive reading? Great question, Larry. So I know I had mentioned it earlier, but for those that just tuned in, I'm able to see spirit. So basically, I can describe, what they look like, or what they're wearing. So I could see them in that sense. I also hear, and as I had mentioned, sometimes it could just be words. So it's up to me. So I say it's a lot like charades or like a bad Wi-Fi connection, and I have to pretty much interpret or feel into what it is that they are saying. But it is my own voice. I will say that. It's like I hear it as if it's in my own head. And then I also feel spirit. So I was just saying, just recently I did a reading, and it doesn't happen all the time, but my head started to pound, and I knew it wasn't my headache because it happened so quickly. And I felt like I was trying to speak, but my words are being slurred. So I can also feel them in that sense. And I also mentioned that it's also a knowing. So sometimes I can just know something without really knowing. I might know what they like to do without them having to show me. So I have a few senses going on. I kind of just go into the reading, and I don't just work with one. I think it's all combined to get the message across. And intuitive, yeah. So I always start my readings mediumistically. I bring through spirit, and then I bring in, what it is that they want to share, or what message they have, or if it's something that you need to know, or guidance for you, then I feel it's more of intuitive reading. But that's just how I begin. I begin mediumistically. I hope that answers your question. So different senses. I work in different ways, and I had also said I work a lot in symbols. So they could just show me balloons or champagne glasses, and I know for me that that's my symbol for certain things. It might be different. If Mama D gets that symbol, we all have different interpretations. So no worries. Thank you for asking. Anybody could ask a question. If I can answer it, I'd be happy to answer it. You're welcome, Larry.
What are your views on and past lives?
How did I know you were going to ask that question?
That's because you're the medium.
How do I feel? I mean, yes, I do believe in past lives. How much do you really want me to go into that? Like, I do believe in past lives.
Do you know of any that you've had?
I believe so. I feel that I was part of I forgot what you call them, but like the 1800s, when you see like those, what are they called? I'm trying to think what the women were called back then. With those corset tops and the big the dresses. And I'm drawing a blank right now of what they were, but I feel like I was more connected to the 1800s.
Okay.
Like sometimes I just get these visions, or if I see pictures of it, I can't think of what they're called right now. Victorian? Yeah, similar to Victorian, but I was thinking of something else. And so if I see pictures, it's like I could just tell you I was there. I lived that. Did you ever see the show, not that I watch it anymore, but like Outlander?
Yes.
Do you remember the show?
Yes.
Very similar to like that era. And I just felt connected. So if I see something, or I am somewhere where it's old, I could feel that I was in that era. So I would say probably the 1800s, somewhere Victorian. And it's funny, I love the Victorian houses. I love anything antique and old. And I just can't explain it. I've had like past lives regression, meditations, or where other people have done past lives. But this is just something that I felt on my own. I did a meditation, if you've ever heard of Brian Weiss, and he wrote, what is it called? I'm told you I have a headache today, but Many Lives, Many Masters. Is that what
Okay, I haven't heard of it.
I'm trying to think. Okay, so he talked a lot about past life regression. He was a therapist, and he did past life regressions. And he had patients that would come in, and he would record it and everything. I went to one of his workshops, and he did this meditation, and going into it, I got that same vision, being in the 1800s, and going through that. And I also feel that I would have lost a child. I can't explain it, so it's really hard to go into the past lives, but I think that's just also a knowing or a feeling. And if you believe in it, I'm sure you could probably feel more into it. So that's just where I'm very connected to.
Have you ever had a past life reading?
I have, yes. I've had a couple. And I'm sorry, in the book from Brian Weiss, it's Many Lives, Many Masters. If anyone's interested, that's a really great book for past life regression and what he did. Yeah, so I've gotten a couple, like, that I was in the era of the Egyptians, the pyramids, that I was a slave. So I'm not really too sure about all that and how I connect with those.
Mm-hmm.
I think sometimes it's better when you connect with yourself. So I have his CDs, and they're awesome, and you can play the CD, and you do go into that hypnosis. And it's amazing to see what you get and what you feel and what you see or what you sense. The name of the book was Many Lives, Many Masters by Brian Weiss, and he's incredible. And I got to see him, I think it was last year in New York City. And he actually did a study where he actually had the patients come in the room and went into hypnosis and talked about their past lives or what they saw and what they felt and what their experiences were. It was like a deep hypnosis. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm. I put a quick link into the chat room because I just did a quick Google search, and that's what I got.
Oh, awesome. Perfect. Okay. I was like drawing a blank there. I was right? Many lives, many masters.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
The reason I asked about past lives was because I had one done a few years back, and everything sort of connected to me in my brain when I was told, like everybody's eventually at some point, oh, well, you were a Native American back in the day, or you were, a witch back in the day. And I wasn't Native American, but I was raised by them. And the connection that I got from the woman that did the reading, it made sense, And a friend who I'm not going to say who it is, but he got a reading, and he was given a description of who he was in a past life, and he did the research, and he found out exactly who this person was, and down to the resemblance between him now and him back then was totally amazing, including the fact that
amazing.
Yeah, he didn't have a mustache now, but he kept stroking his face like he had a mustache, not a handlebar, but like one that goes sort of down the sides of the face. The mustache would go down the sides of the face.
If you recommend someone who does that past life like that, because I never got so much. I've had readings, but it was never like in detail like that.
I will give you her name.
Sure.
Let's see if I can.
I just was looking it up to see. It was the Victorian time, but when I look it up, in the 1800s, it's like they look like the Puritans. They almost look like they have this little thing on their head, and the dresses and everything just looks old. So I would say maybe sometime in that era is when I look at it.
Okay. The woman who gave me the reading was Pamela Jackson. Mystic
Pamela Jackson.
Yeah. I'll give you. See if I can go copy. There you go.
Thank you.
She does quite a few other things, like she's doing I think it's theta healing, and she's an intuitive reader, but she did the reading for me like a few years back. But the connection that I got was like, yes, I knew exactly what she was. It sort of clicked, made a lot of things click into place in this life. But when my friend got the reading from her, the exact same person, the connection was so intense, like I said, that he was able to go back into the, type in the information that he got into a Google search, and he found the person, and like I said, he even sort of stroked his face like he had a mustache, but he didn't have a mustache. And when I saw the picture, and I said, look at that picture, look at the mustache. And he says, yeah. I said, that's how you stroke your face. And I don't know if he does it anymore, but I'm sure he'll message me and go, okay. But yeah, she's really good. So if that's something that you're interested in, Yeah, people can check that out. You
Yeah,
can
I'm pretty open, but I find it intriguing. Like, there's so many different mediums, there's so many people do different things. Another thing that blows me away is like spirit art. I think that's phenomenal. I really I enjoy watching that.
Yeah.
I really do. And then the person goes, "Oh my God," and they take out the picture, of the family member, and it looks like the picture. I mean, I think that's super cool. So I love how there's so many different ways to channel.
And it's connection to spirit happens in so many ways, shapes, forms, and different mediums. It's wild how, like you said, spirit art. I know people will sit there and talk and draw. I've got a gentleman who I follow on Facebook, Patrick Gamble. He's over in the UK. He's got he'll do a reading for you with his cards, which are a great deck I have, but I can't put my hands on them right now. But Patrick Gamble is good. But he also does drawings, paintings. Like all of his cards, he drew them, he painted them. And the thing was, he was trained as a craftsman, as a handyman. He still does it from time to time, especially for his his family and his mom and whatnot. But what he does is a friend of mine got a reading from him, and while she was getting her reading, he was also painting or drawing her spirit guide.
Wow!
And the connection, when the reading was over and he finally turned the picture around for her to see, she knew exactly that was,
Wow!
And again, it's like all the pieces fell into place, all the tumblers of the lock just sort of tick, 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 and it was like, So
I love that. That's awesome. It's so awesome. I'm amazed every time I do a reading or see someone do a reading. Like Tony, though, when he was at the workshop, he did one. It was just like mind-blowing. It's like, oh my God. Sometimes even though you're the medium, you stand back and you're like, do I really do that? Do I sound like that? Do I really bring through this information from spirit? It's just incredible. It really is.
It is. It's because when we're just being LJ and Darlene, we're just, we're having a good time, we're having a conversation. But when you're in the moment, when you are LJ the medium and I'm Mama D, and we're doing what we do, you're doing your mediumship, you're giving somebody a reading, it's kind of like a whole other person. For me, my day job, some people look at me and go, "You have a radio show? You do what?" And it's like,
yeah.
They don't see that person, because over here I'm softly spoken. I'm calm. I'm cool. And at work, I'm a loudmouth, brash redhead who just complains at everybody. And it's like I keep saying, "Well, next week's my birthday. Y'all got to come in and you either got to sing or dance or I'm that's the type of person." But it's not the same person as you are. But when you're doing your thing, when you're doing your platform work, when you're doing your readings, it's like we take on a whole different vibe. It's like we just sort of calm down and mellow out, and it's not saying that it's a complete opposite to who you are normally, but there's something different that just sort of, I guess it would be spirit taking hold and just saying, okay, it's time to do this. Do this thing. So we got to calm down, and this is where you got to go, and this is where you got to connect. So it's still, even now to this day, I've only opened up to spirit for me since 2012. That hey, Mr. Collins, how you doing, gorgeous? You were probably snoozing. Scott Collins is a guest I had on the show. He's in Australia. So I think morning or afternoon. But yeah, every time you do a reading, when you sit there and you say, I get to hear Tony Brainford. I get to hear Tony.
We're both of us tonight. Us and rubbing off on you.
Yeah.
Oh,
I get to hear Tony. I do that type of thing? Yeah, you do. But because it's you doing it, you don't get to hear what other people hear. You got to hear him, but he sits there and does the same thing when he'll hear other people. You know?
Right. It's amazing. It's just different when we're in different shoes, you know. It's just so different. It's cool though. I love it. I really do. And I love learning from other people and seeing how they read and what they do and how they got to where they are. So that's why I appreciate your radio show, because you get to hear different stories. You know, we're all on this journey, but how we got here is amazing. You know, who we learned from, how we learned, what, you know, how we get the information. It's just nice to hear everybody. And then it kind of also makes you feel like, okay, I belong somewhere. You know, when I first started, I didn't know, even when I was younger, you know, how do you explain that to your parents, or how do you, you know, talk about it? You know, it's just, that's why I think a lot of us, you know, have anxiety, because we couldn't really put into words what was going on. It's like, who can I talk to about this? You know, until you start meeting other like-minded people, or find these other people, or like we found each other, you know, and it's something that we can talk about, because you can't always talk about it with other people who don't understand it.
Yeah, because you're kind of afraid someone's going to look at you like you got three heads.
Sure. Oh, forget it. Every time I'm out to lunch, or like even we'll be talking, and somehow it's just always spirit always comes up, or we're just talking about spiritual topics, just the people that are in my life now, you know. Oh, the reading I had the other day, I said if someone next to us just eating their lunch and just tuned into our conversation for 5 minutes, they would be like, oh my God, these people, what are they on, you know? But that's just who we are. To us, that's our normal talk, you know. This is our normal talk. But to other people, so it's so funny sometimes when you're out, and I'm like, who knows what people are thinking when you're on the train or when you're out to lunch. But it's okay, you know.
And how many people hear that you're a medium and you're from Long Island? Do you know?
No,
you know?
Teresa. I get that every single time I say I am from Long Island.
Mm.
Yep. Yeah. She's like, I want to say she's a town over, so 5 minutes from me. But never ran into her.
Okay. The persona that they put on the TV, because I have a friend who knows her. He's a medium. He's in, give me a second, he's in Jersey. And he's known as the Godfather medium. And they wanted him to do a show, so he did an interview for the show by doing a reading for one of the producers. And the producers were like so pumped and like everything was right. And they said, but do you think you could be a little more Italian and a little more New Jersey? And he's like, what are you talking about? Because they wanted a caricature, you know. And he says that's exactly what they do to Teresa Caputo, is they cut and slice and everything else because they want a caricature. They want the ratings. You don't get to see everything you get to see.
Right.
So, you know, or everything that happens, you get to see the highlights. Larry says, previous story about the guy who had the reading sounds like my friend Steve. He went to where the person is in his past life in order to continue his research. Yes. Very true.
Very cool. Yeah, I've heard a lot of people, even one of my mentors, something with a past life, and I don't know whether someone had told her or whether she found this person in meditation, but she did the research and found out who this male was from like a old book. There's not much on him, and I believe it's also in another language, because I'm not sure where this man was from. But it's amazing. I mean, she found him. I mean, I think if we get enough information, you know, maybe we can go back and look back. So.
Well, it's like Eric and Teddy. Now, Teddy has been with Eric for, I think it's 10 years now, as one of his guides, and he's had a few guides in his life. But when Teddy first came to Eric, he gave him a whole bunch of information about to who he was, where he was born, and all this stuff. That Eric was able to do the research and actually spoke to his great-granddaughter.
Wow.
You know, that yes, this was my great-grandfather, and gave him pictures, and it fit the exact description, you know, of what Eric had. So, you know, so he kind of knows that, you know, Teddy was a real person. There was actual, you know, I call him Thaddeus when he gets on my nerves, you know, but there was actually a person alive. This, you know, it's not just a figment of my imagination, or, you know, this was a real person. So it's fun when you get the connection. Things sort of fall into place, and it's sort of like, wow, that's who that is. So I love those stories where there's connections. Again, if anybody has any questions in the chat room, just type them in, and we'll do our best to answer the questions. Yeah. So yeah, check out Pam, Mystic Pam. She's very good, and I had her on the show a while back.
All right, cool. Definitely gonna look her up. You put her name in the chat, or?
Yeah, I'll give it to you in Facebook as well if you want. Because one of the only thing about this show compared to when I had video as well was that during the video, even the chat was saved. So when you went to playback in the archives, you got to see the video, the chat conversation, and everything else. So yeah.
Oh, that's good. So this could be replayed.
You'll get the audio version of it, but you won't get the chat. So if there's anything in the chat, what I do try and do sometimes is I will copy and paste all the chat before I delete it as much as I can, and then I'll put it in the file that's marked LJ. So the audio will go in there as well.
File.
Yes, it's a good file.
Oh, okay. All right. So funny.
Larry's typing in a question. Somebody.
Oh. Yeah, please. Yeah, ask questions, and be more than happy to do my best to answer them.
Oh, Larry's asked not to put you on the spot, LJ, but do you get an impression of who my spirit guide could be? Again, no pressure.
I don't really work with other people. I haven't really encountered other people's spirit guides. I work more with like your loved ones around, more so than I would say spirit guides. That's just personal, how I work. I know a lot of people can tell you about your guides and who they were and where they're from. I personally just work with past loved ones on the other side.
Mm-hmm. If somebody comes to you for a reading, okay, or they're coming to I'm preparing for the show, and I think I want a message from somebody in my past who's crossed over. What are the chances that somebody would be like, okay, we're just having this conversation, and then Spirit's like, psst, LJ, I got a message. What are the chances that somebody who's coming to the show is sitting there thinking, okay, I'd like to speak to my great aunt Martha. Not that I have one.
Mm-hmm.
What are the chances of that you
if
like?
Someone's
do you
in
have
the chat that someone's coming through? You mean, or while we're talking?
Because I've listened to a few other shows, and I think I've had a couple other guests that they knew they were coming to the show. And as my guest, like you would be coming to the show, and someone's been hanging around you all day long, and you have no idea who it is. And then when you get to the show that you're going to, or you get to the platform that you're doing, the person that's been, spirit that's been poking at you all day, and go, LJ, fits into somebody who's either in the chat room of the show or
I totally understand. Yeah, it happens a lot.
Yeah.
Especially when I do group reading, so whether I go to someone's house or go to the restaurant, I feel like they start coming, right? So I just feel like they're coming. So when I was at the comedy club last month, I did a fundraiser for the National Kidney Foundation, and I was meditating, and the show was supposed to start at 8, so I was going to leave my house at 7:30, and I get up from the couch, and my husband goes, oh, you ready? So this was right before the show. I go, yep, because I just started getting, it was like they were lining up, or they were just starting to come. Mm-hmm. Other times it could be earlier in the day. A lot of times it happens when I have a group. It can happen if I have a one-to-one tomorrow that I might start feeling them tonight. But I always ask them to come back at the scheduled time. And then if they come back again, obviously, I will bring them through. But it happened once where I had a one-on-one during the day, and I was doing a group that night, okay? And I'm doing the one-to-one, and I'm bringing through spirit, and she goes, nope. I bring through another spirit, nope. And I bring through another spirit. I go, nope. And I'm like, wow, 3 spirit and 3 no's. I cannot believe it, right? So I was shocked, and we continued, obviously, with the reading. And then I get to my group that night, okay, And every single person that came through for my one-to-one came through for the group reading. I'm like, oh my God, didn't I just see this person today? And they came through for the group. So I'm like, okay, Spirit, and I had to talk about it. I asked mentors, and I'm like, well, look what happened there. So they showed up early. So now it's like, listen, you got to come when it's time to work, because here I am, in the middle of the afternoon and trying to do a one-to-one. So sometimes, yeah, definitely they would show up early if I know that I have a reading coming. Absolutely. Because they know I'm going to read. They know I'm going to open, so they want to get in there,
Yeah. It's like waiting for the lineup. You want to be first in line. And just in case anybody's interested, let's see if I can put this in here. Hold on a second. Hold on. My dog's sitting on my lap because he used to be on the ding. Why is that not working? Alex is stepping on the cords. He used to be on my show when I was hold on a second, is this gonna work this time? I have no idea. When I used to do the video as well, he used to get on camera. And now, so he knows that when I'm talking, he's like, okay, I'm here, but nobody can see you. Show up your regular scheduled time. Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Exactly. God, it's too funny. But no, now it's getting better. But they do come early. But it's really funny. But that woman at that time, she didn't know what was going on. You come in for the one-to-one, and then you go into the group. I'm like, wait a minute, they look familiar. Do you see animals? You know what? I do get them occasionally. I wouldn't say like I'm an animal communicator, but they do pop in sometimes, time to time, in a reading.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I know some people are just like, they call themselves animal communicators, or maybe they just are strongly connected with, with pets. But they pop in every now and then. In meditation, I've seen, or I've seen my past pets.
Okay. Sorry, I'm being looked at the moment.
Do the animals give me symbols, or I don't get symbols from animals? I just get symbols from spirit, and I hope that answers your question, Donna.
So maybe the animal is just there to say, hey, I'm here. And
usually, if I describe them, or they come in, or just like maybe they're playful, or maybe they're a puppy again, not my area, 100% my area, but if they pop in, I definitely say, is there a pet, a pet is with them, or there's this dog with them on the other side.
Yeah, because
I got birds once. Actually, I got birds once. And they're like, she had a lot of birds. I couldn't believe the amount of birds that I saw. And yes, this woman had a lot of birds. So that was actually interesting with the birds.
Donna says animals give her vision.
Oh, that's so cool. Oh, that's really, really cool. I like that.
Larry says he knows an animal communicator. But yeah, there are so many people out there.
Yeah, I have a couple of friends that do the animal communication, and it's really cool.
Well, it's like Scott in the chat room. He's my medical medium and naturopath. He was on here a few weeks back.
Cool.
Yeah, so people are addicted to my show.
There you go. Well, that's because you're entertaining and you're fun, and we like talking about this stuff.
I make it so that it's comfortable for people so that they can feel at ease and relaxed.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's just like you said, I like that conversation with friends. So I like that. There's no pressure. It's just talking about what we like, what we enjoy.
Yep. It's because a lot of people, the simple questions, thank you.
Aw, we do.
The simple questions that I ask sometimes, people go like, I can't ask that question. It's like, so some of the questions I might ask might seem silly to others, kind of going like, seriously, what did you? Because I find that if a question comes to my mind, it might be in somebody else's mind. But they're kind of going, I'm not going to ask that. People are going to think I'm crazy. Well, you are crazy because that question is now in my head.
Right,
so,
right.
And there's, like I said, the only crazy question is Okay, Onyx wants to go down now. Thank you very much. The only crazy question or stupid question, whatever the case may be, is a question that you don't ask because you feel like it's going to be a stupid question. But like I said, somebody out there might also be thinking the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Right.
I do want to see if I can just, I am feeling somebody. Do you mind if I just see if anyone in the chat can see who this male would be?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, perfect. Just give me one moment. I do have, at least I'm feeling him. I know I'm congested and on antibiotics, but we're gonna bring him through. But I do feel a male coming forward, and I feel like he would be fatherly or grandfatherly. And he shows me he would have had some heart issues or breathing issues. Definitely feel like there would be breathing issues there because he gives me like this pain in my chest. So I just feel like pulmonary. At least that's what I'm hearing. And I feel like he was pretty healthy up until he got ill. And I know that he would have really loved fedora hats. I keep seeing like he would have worn this fedora hat or he would have always had it. And he shows me he's the type of person like he would have had this button-down shirt, and I feel like he has like the pen in the pocket, like he's always prepared, the tissue in the back pocket, like I just feel like he's ready to go. I do feel like he would have cared, he would have dressed really nice. And I do notice towards the end, we do get laid up in bed, and I do feel we have trouble walking, and we do need someone to take care of us. And I also feel he would have been a religious person because I'm also seeing like there would have been a cross hung up like above the bed, or there would have been like rosary beads, but I am feeling like there would have been a cross hanging above this person's bed. Can anyone understand what I've said so far?
Well, it's not my dad. My dad wasn't a fedora man. My grandfather was, but other than that, I have no idea. Larry just sounds
Larry,
like
that sounds like your dad? Okay. So let me see also, and I just feel like he would have, like, I feel like I see like a lot of tools. So I just feel like this person, and I do feel we are close to this person, and I just feel like I either see a lot of tools, so whether he was a handyman or enjoyed working on the cars, but I am getting a sense of him being like that. He would have been really well at being a handyman. And I know he would have worked a lot. Would you understand that as well?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he was? All right, because the first thing I saw was like the tools. But I didn't see one tool. I just saw I saw a lot of tools. Okay, great. Let me see. And I just feel he would have, before all of this happened, I do feel he comes off as a healthy man, but I also feel like he was funny or like sarcastic. Like he had like two sides of him, I feel like. What kind of mood we're going to find Dad in. But I feel like he would have had two different moods. But I do feel like he was funny. He was charismatic. Oh, you still have his tools? That's so sweet. Okay, great. Oh, okay, good. Awesome. And would I feel like I have to talk about the son, but I don't know if necessarily we're talking about you, but I would also feel, would there also be a grandson you would be acknowledging, another male?
Okay, well, while Larry's coming up with this, hopefully, okay, no, he's typing. Now, when we were talking about people hanging around, another male, no, not that one. The other male that you're talking about, is that a person who's on this earth or crossed over?
No, they would be here. So whether you have a brother or whether you have a son, but I feel like I would be acknowledging another boy.
Like I said, when we were talking about people who hang around waiting for you to come to a show, was this person just sort of popped in, or
Yes, thank you. His grandson, exactly. Because I have to bring up a son, so it's either son or grandson, but I know you're the son because I'm talking to you, so I had to bring up another boy. So yes, it would be his grandson. And did he just have I'm sorry to cut you off, Melody. I would say either like an achievement or a graduate, but I just feel like he would have just achieved something. We're giving him an award. It doesn't have to necessarily be a physical award, but I know he would have just achieved something or just really had an accomplishment, because I keep hearing victory. So this man came through a little while ago, but like I said, I'm not feeling well. I told you I'm so congested, so my head feels like a bowling ball, so I wasn't sure if I was going to go into reading. But he's been kind of lingering around, so I said, okay, let me see what happens here. Let me just bring him through,
Okay.
And just to go into message, Larry, and we could always talk more after, but I just felt like he's coming through, and I have to say, like, your gratitude and love, because I just feel like there was just a close bond between you two. But I also feel like he's coming through, and he wants you to be brave. So when I try and go a little bit deeper into what he means by being brave, but I feel like there's something you're trying to do or think about doing, but you're hesitating. So I feel like we're trying to make a decision. It's showing me, like, I see A and I see B, so it's like I'm not sure which way I want to go. I'm not sure if I want this. So I just feel like he's just saying to be brave and just be confident in the decision you're about to make. So I do feel that. Would you understand that? Just be brave about what you're going to do, what's ahead of you. Okay, perfect. So just know that Dad's stepping forward, and it's interesting because I was feeling him, and then you asked if any family member was especially close to you, and this happens to be your dad. So I am going to thank him for coming, because I was like, please work with me as my head is super congested. So just be brave. Lots of love to you and lots of love to your son, and like congratulations, I feel. So I definitely feel that there would be an achievement there, and love and blessings to you.
Well.
Okay, so I I said I wasn't sure what was going to happen tonight because of my head. So I'm glad that he was coming through. But yeah, so I felt him like a little while ago. I felt him much earlier, but I wasn't sure if I was going to bring him through. But he got stronger, so I said, okay, let me just give it a shot.
Do you feel that he got stronger once Larry came into the chat room?
Oh, this was, I think, yeah, Actually, yeah, I think Larry was already in the chat room at this point because he was asking questions. So yes, he was already in the chat room. I don't think he showed up early. I think he came on time.
It came
on time. Oh, you're so welcome, Larry. Thank you. He's a really sweet man. I really liked his energy.
This is why I ask these questions, because like you said, sometimes you'll have people who, you were doing a one-on-one reading, but the 3 people who popped up in the beginning were people who were supposed to be at that thing. So I'm always curious as to how other people he is very sweet.
Yeah, he was really sweet, and I'm like, I'm not feeling good, but help me out here, and he sure did. So
yeah,
very sweet.
But,
I just feel like he just was showing me like this bond. I just felt like so a closeness. So that's so sweet.
Cool. Well, you know what? I think we're about 10 minutes out from the end, and
okay.
I think you did an amazingly fabulous job.
Oh,
but I'm also going
to
let you go because you sound really pooped. And
a little bit. Yeah, I am.
Yeah, you've been talking nonstop for almost 2 hours. How can you not?
I know.
Time. But I thank you very much, and maybe in the new year we'll have you back once you're back to full and healthy. Because, like I said, in the new year I'm going to be trying to have a big reading show, just readings, And so if you're if you're up to that, I will let you know.
Yes,
I said it's something I'm thinking about. I'm not sure how I'm going to work that, but and I also may ask for the fact that I can do it on video, so that would be interesting again. Just a one-time thing.
Yes. Oh, anytime. I'm happy to be around. You're really easy to talk to. It's nice to talk to you. So, and I love the people that are in the chats or that I've seen around. So it's nice because, you feel the support, you feel the love. So I appreciate it, and I thank everybody for listening. And I do hope to be back, and everyone can connect with me on Facebook, send a message. I'm friendly. If you think of any questions, feel free to reach out. I'm really easygoing, and I love connecting with other people.
Cool. Well, thank you everybody for coming into the show. Next week, I have no idea because, as usual, I'm not prepared for who's coming on the show. Oh, wait, yes I am.
Oh, see, Larry, that's why he came through to me. You see that? My first and middle name begins with. That's perfect. That's why you got the reading tonight. That's really funny. Well, you can't, Spirit's amazing. So, awesome.
So, yeah. Next week is Jody James, and she is from Australia, and she will be here with us next week. Everybody, thank you for being here. Donna Ravenrooks, Jackie, Kathy, Larry, all the guests, and everybody else who was here and had to leave early. Thank you very much. LJ, it was fun.
It was thank you so much. It was so nice chatting with you. Thank you for dealing with me while I have this headache, but my voice came back just in time for tonight. So I appreciate it, and I thank you everybody for listening.
And we will talk to you again real soon. Thanks everybody. Have a good night.
All right. Thank you. Good night everybody. Bye.
Bye.